Hello and welcome to the delicious recipe. We are between December 25th and January 1st, which is the new year. And if you would have saw on the banner, you might have saw that there was a question mark of who the guests would be there tonight. So the first guest I have on, and the other one that should be showing up here very soon there, is I have the owner of the company, Joe Montaldo from the UPRN. He's the guy that actually puts me on this station. I'm going to go and click him on right now and add him to stream. And we'll have the other one that's coming on there later on, or whenever she comes back in there, is Michelle de Rogier. I always call her Michelle de Rockers because she is a rock star
I
type of
just
girl.
call her the Empress. So
The Empress. There she go. She's managing a lot of this stuff there. And if you're watching along, you can watch us on UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials on YouTube. I think we are also on UFO Paranormal Radio. UFO Paranormal Radio is done twice. And we're on every other podcast place there is. But Joe, since you're on here and you are the sole person that's running this stuff, what new things are we coming on?
a lot of new stuff now. I am the owner. Michelle DeRoche is the station manager, so she's in charge of getting a lot of stuff done, like talent and stuff like that. Is really up her scale, and keeping all these egos under control is partly her job. I don't put it all on her, but it's partly her job. But Michelle does a lot of work for the network, but a lot of new stuff coming up. So, we've already expanded through StreamYard onto YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. Yeah, we're back on Twitter, people. Can you believe that? And we're not being thrown off. I know. So you can. I petitioned for the big station back. We had 150,000 on our big thing. I don't know if they'll give it back to us or not. Right now, I think it's only like 400 or 500 for Twitter. But the more of y'all that go over there, the more of y'all that there will be. But LinkedIn, we have about 30,000 followers over there. Facebook, across the main Facebook page, is about 250,000 followers on there. So y'all can go hang out with us. But starting January 8th through the 10th, you will see a new channel on Roku. It will be UFO Paranormal Radio, United Public Radio TV. Yes, it starts sometime. I talked with the guy today. He said it would be sometime between, Roku's not taking new submissions until January 2nd, but after that, it takes him 5 days to publish it. So he said somewhere around the 7th or 8th. We'll just say between the 8th and the 10th. Just type in UFO Paranormal Radio, and there we should be. Now, I don't know who's going to be there, what's going to be there. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. But it will be our first venture into real television, real television. And there will already be, I think there's already 30 shows already put into the system. 30 hosts put into the system, about 60 or 70 shows. So those will all be free. You'll be able to get them free. There will be pay for listen on there, for specialty shows and specialty things we do, or things that we do in the field, or when we're out hosting events somewhere. They'll be there for that as well. So we'll be able to do television anywhere in the world now. Doesn't matter where we are. I can send Dell out freezing his ass off somewhere. As long as he's got his cell phone with him, he's good to go. And
there we go.
And away we go. And it's just it's a unique thing for us because, doing video is one thing, and it took us a while to get the hosts straightened out about what they need to do when they're in video. TV is different because think about it this way. I can go right now and go on my YouTube channel, Facebook, and watch everybody on 70-inch television in my bedroom. But, that's one thing, okay? YouTube is not in high def or 4K. Neither is Facebook. But Roku is. Roku's high def, 4K, whatever you want, it's there.
See, now that is the best thing because this is what I talked to you about a year ago. It says, I wanted to do a show from camp as I'm on my fishing boat catching a fish. Now I can probably do that now with us going on to the Elon Musk Starlink.
Yep.
And now that, here's a question. This is the first question that's right out of here, right in the beginning, because this is the question. What do you think about the part about Elon Musk taking over Twitter and releasing all the banned people that were on there, except for a few? Like he didn't get rid of. He hasn't brought back on. What's his name there? The guy from Texas, but
not Jim Jones. What is his damn name? Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Yeah, he didn't bring him back on, but he brought in other people. And the most viewed person of this year of 2022. He's the main guy that's been called a misogynist. And, oh, geez, I just forgot his name right now. And I just watched 3 days of his shows.
Oh, shit.
And okay, I'm gonna go right here to the library, and I'm gonna get his name. I think it's Adam. Where is his name? Oh, geez, like, of course, I can't find this anywhere. What is his name? He was a MMA kickboxer, not MMA, but he was a kickboxer. And oh, geez, this all go away from me. This is so bad. I was just talking to Laura Lee about this already.
Yeah, I hate when my brain decides to do
Oh,
that.
geez, that's a total brain fart. Oh, geez, I was just watching this. Why is this even coming up? Go into library. That's why I went to subscriptions. That's the whole thing there. Okay, his name is Andrew Tate, the most viewed person off of Google, over 55 million views, and he's been called a misogynist, called everything there. But actually, have you been aware of him or even heard of him there at all, Joe?
Not really. The name sounds familiar, but I can't say. I probably because I've heard somebody else talking about him. To be honest with you, it might have been. I might have heard Crazy Alex Jones talking about him. I've never listened to Alex Jones before, but the other day I'm driving back from New Orleans back to my house on the coast, and he comes on one of the local radio stations. I've never heard him on any of the radio stations down here before, and
Mm-hmm.
he's going on and on and on and on, and I'm thinking, now I know why your ass is banned from Twitter. I was like, well, I mean, you know, I'm sure I hate to hate anybody who does conspiracies or works in conspiracies because a lot of times conspiracies turn out to be true.
Yep.
So you got to be careful there. But a lot of the stuff he says, you're just kind of wondering, what kind of crack was he doing? I mean, I mean, I've heard people talk about. I got some good friends that like him,
Yep.
and they're intelligent friends. So I know there's got to be something to the guy. But
Yep.
I guess I've just never listened to him enough. You know what it is? He sounds too much like a preacher to me. I think that's why I can't listen to him.
Mm.
It flashes me back to like in sermon school or something. I'm like, nope, no, this ain't working for me because he wasn't talking about nothing really bad the other day. It's just he was bitching more or less about all the fines he had to pay over the Sandy
Oh,
Hook.
oh yes, the billions of dollars there, and then he now he's posted up that he's bankrupt. And you know what? And if I looked at that there quite a bit there too as well, and I was wondering. It says, how does somebody have $9 billion to go and pay for? And how does anybody that has don't okay, people that are out there listening to this, I says, how do you think that you deserve any part of $9 billion? I work a job and I slave away every single day and I barely make $50,000 a year. How do you think that you get a portion of $9 billion divided by 13 or 14, whatever it is?
You see that I never. I understand you lost your child, and I understand he was saying shit that pissed you off about you. I understand that. And I'd be mad too. More than likely, I'd already whooped a guy's ass to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem here is you're right. Okay, so you're putting a value on your child of $700 million is what you say your child's worth. First off, you
Right,
should never put a value on your child. That's just sick in your own head to
right.
start off with. And it's not that I don't think people should get compensated, but
Mm-hmm.
really, $700 million each. Come
Okay,
on.
and I'll just stop you right there. In the 1970s, they said that the human body was worth $7.14 in usable minerals.
Yeah, unusual minerals. That's true too. Actually, it's a little more today because of inflation, but still,
Right.
it's
So now, where
probably
do you think for $7.14 goes up to $700 million?
I figure okay, it's your child, it's your life, and you
Right.
want to be compensated for that child's life. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can completely understand that. So what's fair here? $1 million, $5 million. But once you start breaking $100 million, don't you think we should start spreading the wealth around at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give it to other people who were head shooting. So why do you get all the money? So let's look at all the even though he didn't have anything to do with all these other
Okay.
shootings, why don't we spread some of this money around to everybody who's lost a child in a school? So let's
Okay.
all
Now,
give them all like $20 million each or something,
oh,
But still,
you
that
want to
still
go?
doesn't come up nowhere near $9 billion. I mean, this
You want to
sometimes when I
go?
hear
You
these
want to
suits
go that
go,
high? You want to go that high?
that's what I'm saying, and that still don't come nowhere around $9 billion. That's going to
Right.
come around about $1.5 billion
Okay.
if they're lucky.
Now, because we're looking sort of this is the show that we're looking back at the year of 2022. Now, Roe versus Wade went out there, and now what do you do for all the parents that somebody that abortion happened, and they said, "Well, I didn't want that kid aborted." and then that's a kid that died. Now, do you get to be as the other person and say, well, now you owe me $500 million?
Well, you can say that, but since the liberals are in charge of the government, you'll never see it. It's
Right.
it'll never happen. And that's the other thing. So that's you're right about this. They're setting the precedents now. So they're saying each one of these souls will worth $750 million.
Right.
So that means that for every time we lose a child now, that's the starting point is $750 million.
Right.
Don't look. I think the kid. Don't get me wrong. I think what he did was wrong, and they should get money. But $9 billion, no. No, I mean, let's just some things is just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you want to take everything away from man, fine, but don't put it all to them. They don't.
Yeah.
They all of it. First off, I learned this a long time ago. People who get suddenly rich rarely come out successful. A lot of times
Hmm.
they end in bad ways, and a lot of them end up broke.
Yep.
The problem is you don't understand money. If you're not raised in money or you haven't been around money a long time, you really don't understand how it works, and it will
It's
kick
true.
your ass. First off, you're going to be onslaught. Do you know how many people who are going to call him every day? Can you give me money for St. Jude? Can you give me money for this? Can you give me money for that? It's
Yes.
never going to stop. And you're going to be giving money like you got money. And the next thing you know, you're down $100 million. Like, well, where did I spend 650? You've had the money 5 years. And then if you've got other problems like addiction or alcohol problems, oh my God. And half these people are going to become jet setters. They're going to be flying all around the world. They're going to be spending money. You've got to have a plan. And don't get me wrong, some of them will.
Mhm.
But so this is how I look at this too. So if they really did get this because of the kids, if they have other kids, and a lot of that money should be put away for those kids.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
And I think that any child who was affected by
Okay.
this should all get money.
Okay.
I'm still thinking $100 million per kid is just ridiculous, though. I
Okay.
mean,
So, what do
that's
you
just
do for all
crazy.
the kids that go to university and college? Do they all get paid $1.5 billion to
Yeah,
cancel out their debt?
that's the
If you're
thing.
going
I
to
think
give
that ain't
if
gonna
you're going to give
happen. It ain't
seven
gonna
hundred
happen.
million dollars to a kid that died going to school, see, this is the weird, uh, I guess, the mentality that we sort of hear, and that people put these inflated money values on things, right?
Yes, and that's what they're doing. That's what we're saying. I mean, you have just now said that this child is worth this amount of money. So
Hmm.
anytime someone loses a child from now on, this is where they're going to want to start at. So even if we spread it around in the school and get it down to $100 million a kid, still. So that's what anybody gets killed from now on. That's where the price is going to start. Man, $100 million is a lot of money, people. I don't get me wrong. I'd be furious if I lost a child too, but $100 million is a lot of money. I mean, it's not chump change, and I just don't see. I think it's a bad precedent to set. I think these people should be rewarded. Maybe $25 million each, but no, 100 million, 700 million. This has just gotten stupid. I mean, yeah, you want to break the man, that's fine, but don't just give it to them. Spread the wealth out so it does more than just a handful of people. Maybe help it rebuild the school system up
People
there.
can still
Do
hear me.
something. Yeah, I
Maybe
got you.
people can still hear me. They says just moving closer to my router. I'm only 4 feet away from the thing, so
Well, I didn't lose you. I could hear you for a minute, and then you just faded out and came back all of a sudden.
right. So this is the part that now this is the interesting thing, and this is why I brought up the name Andrew Tate, the most viewed and most looked at person in the whole entire internet. And the part he's saying is that there has to be some sort of semblance of recognition of importance in anything, right? And that's one little part about there. Male roles, female roles. Now we've gone into this sort of atmosphere over the past 10 years, but especially over the past 2 years, about disgendering male and female. What do you feel about that?
Well, liberals have learned how to divide and conquer. That's all that is. It's a way to
Mm-hmm.
divide and conquer. You get people arguing. So I said this when Obama was president. The last 2.5 years of his presidency, we argued about bathrooms. There was shit going on all around the world, all around people starving in our country, people homeless in our country,
Right.
people all around the world having it bad. And we were talking about bathrooms and who should be going to what bathroom. Here we are again. Now we're just talking about transgender. It's not a different conversation. It's the same one. Look, people, I
Mm-hmm.
live in New Orleans. Transgenders do what transgenders do down here. If they
Mm-hmm.
dressing like women, you'll still see them in the male's bathroom. You'll walk in, you see this looks like this big old tall blonde. You think, wow, and then all of a sudden, out comes the whatchamacallit. So it's just how it is down here. They have their own clubs they go to. They have their
Yep.
own strip clubs they go to.
Hmm.
They have their own strip clubs where they work. It's part of their life, which is fine. I really don't personally have a problem with it, but we can't be making special references. First off, anytime you think it's okay for a transgender, a male, to participate in female sports, you're an idiot. Men's
Yep.
upper body strength is 3 or 4 times what a woman's is. And if it's
Hmm.
a guy who's working out, it's about 10 times more. There's no way. I mean, like the guy who was the boxer, the transgender who was the boxer.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was the story. It actually was brought up on Joe Rogan there, where he actually broke her skull.
Yeah, he did severe damage to a couple of them, and then we've got the ones now who are saying they're transgender and being transferred to female prisons and
Hmm.
getting caught raping women all over the place. So
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. Look, I'm sorry, guys. Until you can find a way to make a man really a woman, and
Hmm.
then we can talk. I mean, some kind of hormone, something that brings down the size of the body or something. But right now, it's just not fair to women, is what it comes down to. They're the
Oh,
ones
for
being
sure.
brutalized the most by it. I mean, anytime we have governments, oh well, I listened to one of the governors the other day. Oh yeah, sure, they can play female sports. I'm thinking, really? So
Hmm.
they got these female football teams. This guy's like, I don't know, 270, 280. He's gonna go play football with these girls. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, man. Then I got to wonder what country I'm living in. I'm thinking, where did I end up moving?
Yeah.
Is this Cuba somewhere? And well, none of that would go on in Cuba or Russia. Actually, people bitch about communist and socialist countries. You wouldn't see none of this in a communist and socialist country. They would be
No.
executing you for this.
For this train of thinking that okay, now I just anybody that's out there listening there, these are just opinions, please, and just looking
Yeah,
at
any moans, bones, or
situations.
bitches, right to Michelle DeRoche.
Yeah,
That's who you write to.
exactly. She's the manager of this,
That's
and
right, right to
this is
Michelle.
this is why she's not coming on camera right now, even though I invited her, and she said she'll be there ASAP, but she's not here yet. But no, the thing is though is that we're about 10 years different in age. I was born in
Hmm.
'70. You're born
In
60
the
plus,
'60s, yeah.
right? So, thing is though is that there was rules that were put for male and female, and it was a thing there is that I grew up. You never hit a female. Okay. So now you have here in 2022, you have a guy that pretends to be a female or transitions over to be a female. And I know people will get bent out of shape about this, but he gets to go and beat the living crap out of a female. And people celebrate this and bet on it.
Yeah, just because it's insanity. I don't
Right.
get. I mean, a lot of states are turning against it, but I noticed the Olympics allowed it, at least in part. And I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't understand why there's a separate women's sports. Things like tennis and golf, women and men could compete. You could give a woman a handicap in tennis or golf and make it fair. They wouldn't have to be,
Well,
uh,
there
you
you
know.
go. Exactly. Golf. There's the white tees and the yellow tees and the red tees.
Yes,
Okay. Now, why is that? Because
well,
women can't hit as far as
because of upper body
natural
strength.
male.
That's right.
Right. So, how do you discount that?
Well, they actually do a formula for it. So what they usually did, I think originally what they did was is they just took a couple of guys and took a girls and got an average of what the distance is between it. Just a straight
Hmm.
hitting on a straight down and run, nothing fancy, just straight
Yeah.
down 300 yards. And guys can easily hit 300 yards, girls can't.
Right.
So a lot of
To
times they
to
were
get
falling
par.
270, yeah, 260, 270. So
Right.
so what they did is they moved the tee up that much,
Yeah.
and then you get to hit from there. And people say, oh, it gives advantage. Not really. It's the woman still has to make all the shots. She still has to make the curves, then she has to get out of the
Right.
green, the grass, the
Hmm.
sand. I mean, it's still the same thing. She's just getting a place where she can shoot to make the shot a fair shot. Because if they're
Right.
shooting together, he's going to outshoot her every time, 30 or 40 feet. And in the end, he's going to make par when she might not. Or he
Right.
might make a birdie where she might make par. It's just not, in other words, she's never going to really see that birdie or
Right.
any of those other shots. She's really just going to ever see par at best. And
Hmm.
that's just cheating. And we know it is. So you can do that. We've seen it. Look, I would have
Hmm.
put what's her name against any guy. What was her oh man, what was that the woman's name? She just
Oh,
kind of
Billie Jean.
retired.
Oh,
No,
Serena
not Billie Jean
Williams.
though. Yeah, I'd have put her against any guy.
Yeah.
Shit, I think she'd have beat their asses, to be honest with you.
Well, no,
So,
no. Actually, I'll tell you a story about that. This ended up happening there, and people might not remember this because it's pretty sort of blocked out there. So Serena and Venus Williams, back before they hit their big prime, but they were climbing up the ladder of being the best female tennis stars, and so they had said that they could beat any man. So there was an East Indian tennis player that was ranked 208 or 209. I can't remember what his name is right now. Sorry, I didn't write it down. And he went out drinking and showed up drunk the next morning. And he played both sisters. He beat them 8-0, 8-0, 8-1, 8-0. And he goes, okay, I'm ranked 208, 209. And you can say you can beat anyone, any man. Okay, now the big thing was with the propaganda was the Billie Jean King facing against an old retired tennis player. And
oh
that
yeah.
was how the big news media went out there. Women's rights, feminism, we can beat any man. And see how propaganda is a very, very strange thing, but a very powerful thing.
I say move him up 1 foot. I don't know. Serena, when she was at her prime, when she was big, when she was bulking out, she was definitely on steroids. I
Oh
don't know if
yeah,
she. I think she could have took anybody she wanted then, because I seen her. They were just sparring that day. They were doing warm ups, and she's making that guy earn his keep, man. He
yeah,
was running his ass off.
right,
But that was at their peak, and at their peak, I do believe at least Serena was on steroids because she bulked up.
sure,
She doubled it. Her chest size doubled,
right,
which is, and I'm not talking to boobs, guys. I'm talking about
right,
overall shoulders and chest. It doubled up in size. So
right.
I get, but that's a because if you've seen some of the other girls she were playing, they were dainty little things, and
Right.
they were
Do
still
you,
competing too, but they were dainty little things, and so I mean that's an exception to the rule there for the most part, you know. Well, darts. No, you don't need female. No, you don't.
no, okay. Here's the thing,
Doofus
though.
ass. Who wrote that? I'm sorry. Go ahead. That
Okay,
was
no,
stupid.
here's the thing. There. Do you think The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is on steroids?
I don't know. Sometimes he looks like he is. Sometimes he looks like he's not. So
Right.
I think when he bulks up, he might get some. When he has to bulk up for a movie or something.
Rocky got busted for steroids going to another country.
Yeah, well,
For
and it's not beyond reason that some of these guys, when they have to bulk up fast for a movie,
Mhm.
use steroids to do it.
Right.
If they can get their hands on them, it's a lot harder to
Right.
get your hands on them now legally than it used to be. But still, you
Lance
know,
Armstrong.
Lance Humble, we know he was.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
you say Epo, right?
yeah, he was on him so bad it was ridiculous. Shit, they gave him cancer.
Right.
Um,
He lost a testicle out of it, but
yes, I
he still
mean,
got eight Tour de France wins.
it's funny because they took his wins back, but they couldn't take the money back.
Yeah, but he also got to sleep with Cheryl Crow too.
Well, that's true too. I mean, you know, the guy. Well, I guess you can say he cheated. I mean, it is cheating because steroids do buff you up and help you muscle up. But it was
Yeah, but
more than that.
the rest of the team were also using EPO too as well,
Yeah,
and they
well,
didn't
but see,
lose as
that's what I'm
much
saying.
as.
It's more than just bulking up. I mean, the Tour de France is a stamina thing. I mean, it's not
Oh yeah,
just
I
being
love it.
bulked up in muscle. You have to have the wind power. Your lungs have to be up. Your legs and muscles have to be for a long time
Right.
because they'll start to cramp. So that's endurance. That's a little bit different. And yeah, it'll help him initially. What steroids were going to help them is like if they had to go up a mountain or something, they were buffed up, they had bigger legs, they could push themselves up faster. But they weren't helping him to enhance his endurance. That came from
Oh
just
no, what
training.
EPO was doing was it basically because I watched 5 documentaries on this. EPO actually brings more oxygen into the bloodstream to allow you to minimize loss of muscle
That's
cramps.
good.
Right? So you're able to ingest more oxygen and utilize it better, where everybody else that wasn't using it, uh, they
Well,
would be like,
that comes in
oh,
handy in them mountain races, man.
oh, well, if
When
anybody's ever watched the Tour de France, and I used to watch this with my buddy all the time when we go to down to Rockfest in Cadott, Wisconsin, and before we go to the concert, we watch the beginning of the Tour de France every single morning, seeing as they're going into what section or what stage, and you're going, how are these guys going on after day 12?
I know.
After you just did 112 kilometers and you're still climbing up a hill. I've worked my life. I work heavy equipment, heavy machinery, construction, and I'm like, holy jumping! If I'm lifting 80 pounds every hour, every minute of the day, and I'm wake up the next morning going, I'm not climbing up a hill.
Yeah, and
You
they'd be
you
like,
do the
"What the
same
hell
thing.
ever?" Well, when I was young, we when we were real young because we did a lot of bike riding, and
Yeah.
I remember one of my girlfriends lived about 25 miles away, so we got on interstate on the ramp on Interstate Road. And cops told us to made us get off the interstate. We were in the middle of the swamp too. Luckily, it was a levee down there, and we rode it
Hmm.
back up to the highway. But we still rode 25 miles there and 25 miles back. On the way back, my doofus friend got a flat, so he was on the handlebars all the way back. So, but that's not the same as 100 miles or 200 miles or 300 miles. And don't get me wrong, I was sore. My thighs, and I got big ass thighs, were sore for 3 days after that.
Yeah.
They were sore. My arms were sore, and it's just part of it. These guys ain't even getting sore. They just riding along.
Yeah.
And I know you can build. I mean, when we used to go walk and when we go explore the city when we were kids, we learned that we'd walk a little. So the first day we'd walk a mile or two, then 3 or 4, and after about 6 or 7 months, we could easily walk 10, 15, 20 miles like it was nothing. And
Hmm.
so we'd walk all over the place. We didn't even mind. And then, God invented the bicycle for us. We were like, oh shit. And then we were going easy 50, 60 miles some days, but we
Yeah.
were kids. When I hit 30 years old, if you asked me to ride a bike 30 miles, I'd have slapped you upside your head and said, what is wrong with you?
Actually, this is actually funny because I had this conversation about 2 days ago. Me and all my buddies, we went out to a place there called Boston Pizza, and we went out there for lunch. And I said, you know what? I get up in the morning time there now. I'm over 50 now. I'm going to be 53 this year. And I said, it takes me a half an hour to get my body moving and warmed up just to go up the stairs, because after I sit down or lay down for a sleep there at night, I'm going, I'm not the same thing I was 20 years ago where I could just bump up and go and shovel snow. Well, oh, we had a big, huge snow blizzard. I know you don't know anything about that down there in Louisiana
That's
there,
right. Snow
Joe.
is forbidden for down here, man. It's not allowed. We forbid that shit down here.
But yeah, it says the plow went by there just before the show, and I went, I gotta go out there and shovel this big, heavy, sleety snow again. And I'm like, oh, and it's like I just hear crack, crack,
Yeah.
crack in the knees.
Yeah, I got
But
some friends that live in a heavy snow. And they always want come up, spend the holidays. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to your house. He said, Joe, you don't have to do anything. You just watch it snow. I said, I'm not going to the house. And I said, I might get stuck. And he's like, what? I said, don't get me wrong. I've had to drive in some pretty heavy snow because I've
mm-hmm.
been around the country a lot of times. But
Yep.
down here, these idiots don't know what snow is. They don't know what ice is. If we get freezing temperatures, first thing I tell all my friends, now remember, when you go to stop at a stop sign, stop the block before. I
Yeah,
said, because if you're
exactly.
not, you're going to slide right through it. So we watched, me and one of my partners, we had just got off work one day. And I said, it just started snowing and it
Yeah.
kind of iced up. I said, watch. We went and got one of my favorite four-way stops. And we're just going to sit here and videotape this all day. There was wreck after wreck after
Yeah.
wreck. It got so bad that it was real long blockups. And the cops said, what are y'all doing? I said, we're just filming this because obviously Louisiana people, and we drive in the rain in a nasty hurricane rain.
Yeah.
You'd think, but it's like I was coming back from I just gave a lecture at the Washington Press Club in D.C. and I was dropping off a friend of mine in West Virginia, and man, all of a sudden we're on top of this mountain. It starts snowing sideways. I'm like, son of a bitch. I mean, it's snowing. A good friend of mine, I
Mm-hmm.
was cracking jokes all the time. She goes, when's the last time you drove in snow? Just, I don't know, about 12 years ago. I said, it was pretty bad, but I was in Kentucky somewhere. And I said, it just started snowing. I said, well, the rigs are doing 70. I'm not slowing down if they're not slowing down. So I just kept on going. And we were in a pretty heavy van. And eventually we got to where it was just snow. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
everywhere. So I wasn't so much worried about it. Driving in snow is like driving in rain. It's just driving on the ice. It takes a certain kind of skill. And
Oh, it
none
does.
of these
Yeah.
people down here don't understand ice. They just don't. They
Well,
just,
you need certain tires for that there too
yeah.
as well. And I remember the one time there I did a trip, a 17-day trip from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, all the way down to Key West up to New York, and we went through the Appalachian Mountains. On one side it was raining, went through this 2 mile long tunnel, come out the other side, and it's just freezing rain, black ice. Well, I got snow tires. I'm from Ontario on my vehicle, and I'm seeing transport trucks, cars in the ditch, just sliding off the road. And I'm doing 30, basically less than 30 miles an hour, going, why are these people driving this fast? Like, you
Because
didn't
they
understand.
idiots. Because they idiots. I know like once you get up north, some we were in. I just came back from Salt Lake City. Um, One of the passes, Moab Pass up there, is a pretty nasty pass. And from what they were telling me in the winter, it's seriously nasty. And you do see about every 30 or 80 yards, there's a place where trucks are pulling to put chains on their trucks
Oh yeah.
because it's one of these places where it can go from beautiful to in a matter of no time at all. So the other day I was looking because we were just in there in late October, but it was cold, but it wasn't snowy or anything. So I was looking the other day, man. You couldn't pay me money to drive through it. First off, this thing is so narrow and so tight. You got
Yeah.
rigs going, and you don't have regular rigs. You got super rigs coming through there because they're pulling stuff
Oh
long
yeah.
distances. I'm like, oh my god! And then the Wyoming interstate, the Montana interstate we took. They were showing it a couple of days ago. Snow was up to my chest. Rigs were blowing over from the wind because it's just one big open sweeping plain. They got
Right.
these things that look like movie
You have a
theaters.
sail. You have a sail with wind at 90 miles an hour. You think that's not going to fall over,
Yeah, I
right?
mean it's crazy. You couldn't pay me money to drive through there either. I'm like, well, and I'm driving a Camry low to the ground, but it can't even go through any like but more than 8 inches of snow. It's gonna get stuck. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like, whoop! I'm not going any further. Well, people ask y'all all the time why y'all live up north. And you know what? People tell me we got hurricanes, but you can move to the south and not have to deal with hurricanes. You can move in places like Atlanta and
Huh?
Dallas, Houston,
Oh, do
places
you want
like
to
those.
actually move to Atlanta?
Not
Atlanta
really,
is
but
no, Atlanta is. I was in Atlanta and I was up in the northwest corner of Atlanta around the perimeter part there at a hotel. And my buddies went to, we were at there for the Super Bowl. I think it was in 96. And I dropped them off downtown. They came back and they walked back from downtown and went through
no.
there. And the security guard at the hotel. Now, when you have security guards at the hotel that are walking perimeters, you're in the wrong part of the country.
It's true. I was just there for Dragon Con in September, in the beginning of September. Now my sister works downtown Atlanta. She lives out in the suburbs, so she's not
Mm-hmm.
stupid. But um, it's crazy down here, and every hotel has guards. Everyone does.
I
So
had the
I'm
same.
coming in. I came in. I went somewhere. I went to go get something to eat. I was starving, and I think it's
Yeah,
downtown Atlanta. It's like New Orleans. I got to be somewhere open past midnight. So I'm
yeah.
driving around. Finally found a place to eat. I'm coming back. I'm in a rental. Some bitch, I pull into the thing where the garage door goes open, let you in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Oh, well, you can't come in here." I'm like, "What the hell? I'm staying here." And he's like, "Are you sure?" I said, "This is the room, and here's my card." I said, "You don't tell me if you don't open this door immediately, we're gonna have a problem."
Right,
Because
right.
I said, my food was getting cold. I wanted to eat. It's already cranky because it had to be so late to get to eat. So I wanted to go sit in my room and enjoy the evening, watch the crazy hotel. Because the hotel I was in is smack downtown. So anywhere you looked, there's a
Yeah,
building next to you.
yeah.
But what was cool was the building on the side of us, on the right side of us, was completely clear. It was a hotel too. I'm thinking, you stupid idiots have no idea that these other stupid idiots are watching. It's Atlanta's dangerous, people. Is all I can tell you. Anybody goes down there, I'll tell you it's dangerous. Just be careful. Don't go by yourself.
Mhm.
Same thing with New Orleans. Bring somebody with you.
Oh, for sure. No, well, you've told me many stories about New Orleans and different areas, and that's the
It's
same thing.
dangerous.
It's the exact same thing. I lived in Toronto. I actually live here in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and there's places up here you do not go around at nighttime, and that's the thing that uh, children, people. I think this is sort of a thing that's sort of been lost is that everybody this sort of this new wokeism mentality is that hey, well, I can go wherever I want, nobody can go and do this, I'll just go and say whatever.
Yeah,
It
keep
says no,
having
if
that
you
dream.
it says you will go down there and go that way, there's trouble. And I don't understand where this mentality comes from there. I mean, is this a new thing? Like
No,
it's
well,
not 2022, but it's a recent
because
10
the
years thing.
baby boomers and the X Geners know better because they've lived through it. The
Hmm.
millennials, the older millennials now understand it. The young millennials don't, and the Z Geners don't have a clue. All they've been watching is CNN and C-SPAN. Go, oh well, I can go anywhere. Well, no, you can't. Matter of fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I went to go pick a friend of mine in the quarter, and I'm watching this couple, and they're lost. You can tell they're tourists, no doubt. So they're getting ready to head down one of the really dangerous streets outside the quarter. I said, "Can
Hmm.
I help you?" And she's like, she was. I made them nervous because I was talking to her. I said, "Where are y'all going?" She said, "Why you want to know?" I said, "Because you're getting ready to walk into one of the most dangerous parts of the city." And I
Hmm.
said, I just wanted to warn you. I said, it's a good chance you might get raped, mugged, or killed going down this particular street at this particular time of the evening. I
Yeah.
said, oh, you should turn back and go down here and head back into the quarter or head into the Maroney where there's lots of people where you'll be safe. I said, I already know you're not from here. I can tell by the way to walk you act and you're not from our city. I
Yeah.
can tell by the way you're dressed. And so can any other criminal who lives here. And
Right.
I said, you should just turn around, go back. Maybe I said, there's lots of guides in the city. Just stay on the big streets where you know the people. D'Iberville. I gave him a list of streets, and I said, stay on those streets. You're safe. Nobody, you might get your wallet picked, but nothing else is going to happen to you. I
Hmm.
said, but where you were headed is some of the worst drug deals in the city goes down. I said, you just don't want to go down there. And
Yeah.
at first they were all freaked out. And then her husband's all like, oh God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I figured I'd never hear from him again. Apparently, one of them watched one of my episodes on TV and wrote to me again and tell me how thank you I was for saving their
Oh,
asses.
awesome.
But it's worse than that. Me and my
Yeah.
wife and my son, me and my wife were out, and we stopped at this place to film some alligators. Right, every now and then
Yeah.
we stop and we're gonna see how big they're getting. And there's one I got. He's about 6 foot long. He's coming down the vine. You can see, and his tooth is glinting. It's badass looking. But anyway, we're out there looking. We're out there looking to do some filming, and I'd been throwing some chicken legs out there, getting them to come up, and they were
Yeah.
all over the place. We'd already seen like 8 or 9 of them. So here comes this couple with their little daughter, and they
Yeah.
get out and they're walking around. I'm not thinking nothing about it,
Yeah.
and I started walking towards the pier, and I looked down. This kid is headed down the boat launch. I just flipped out. I just flipped. I started screaming at the parents, "You need to get your damn kid!" Because I was running across to get the kid because I knew it
Yeah.
was coming next.
Yeah.
So we get about halfway down the boat launch. He's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I said, "Dude, you're not from here, are you not?" He said, "No." I said, "Let me show you something." I picked up a rock and I threw it in the weeds, and this freaking alligator just rolled his head over. I said, "He was just waiting for your daughter to get a little bit closer," and
Right.
she'd
Yeah.
been lunch. I said, you never walk down slides. You never get anywhere, especially with kids. I said, don't jump on docks to grab kids. I
Yeah.
said, because kids aren't a threat. I said, I've seen them take them out of pirogues and stuff.
Hmm.
I said, just you always keep your hands on them. You keep them where
Hmm.
the edge of piers, and you never let them walk down a slide because gators like slides. He's like, I said, they make their own slides when in the wild. And I said, to them, a boat launch is a slide. It's like, and they both were like white as ghost afterwards.
Well,
They couldn't even believe that a place this dangerous would be accessible to kids. And I laughed at him. And she's like, "Why are you laughing?" I said, "Because a Bayou kid would know better to go down a freaking boat launch even at that age."
well, I guess that's the big thing there is because well, big tourism through the world, period. And you remember this story probably about the kid that disappeared at Disneyland in Florida, right? They were dealing with a mosquito population, but they had a lot of alligators that are around
Mhm.
there, and I think it was an 8-year-old kid, and he went down to the side, and he's there, and he this is all the manicured lawn and everything like that, and the parents just turned their eye for a second, and then the kid was gone. And then they had to go out. They found the alligator and they found the kid in the belly of the alligator. The thing is, though, is that it's a dangerous place when you don't understand the area. And I always
It is.
tell this to people, and I told this to Laura Lee there too. And when we were in Toronto there for one of her visits there that she had to do for a medical thing, and she's walking down the road, and I says, "You're giving out tourist vibes. You're attracting people." I lived there for 10 years and then out for 10 and back for 10. I says, "You're attracting people." She goes, "What are you talking about?" Because small town, she's not aware of this, that people are looking to,
You're like, "Who the hell are you? What you doing around here?"
right? It says, "You're easy pickings," right? That says, "Don't wear that. Don't wear flashy stuff. Don't try and blend in and just go away." And this is the part that I think maybe it's a part that people don't understand is that you get young kids and stuff like that that figure that wearing and using flashy materials and stuff like that, that there's not people out there that are less fortunate that are ready to go and take that away from you, and you don't know how to fight. Not everybody knows how to fight. That's why these second world countries and stuff like that, they put their kids into the military first. They got to do 3 years. Hey, they know how to fight, do the military. Kids here in North America, they have no
No,
clue.
the last generation doesn't even understand what a war is. All they've seen is this stuff on television, and they don't really look. That doesn't look like a war. If you go back and watch Desert Storm, even then, even though we were all adults and knew what it was, let's say I'm about 5 years old, you so it's we all knew what the war was, and even the
Hmm.
kids coming up behind us understood it. But these kids, they've never seen anything that even resembles a war. They look at this thing about Putin, they don't even know what the hell they're watching.
Right.
And honestly, most of them even watching it, they want to go back to whatever they were doing online or whatever they were doing with their friends. Let me go get some Starbucks coffee. Let me go get woke
They
somewhere.
never been slapped.
Well, what's funny is I said if you're so woke, let me take about a dozen of y'all and drop y'all off in Cuba or Venezuela and see how you do. I said I
Exactly.
could take some of my friends and some of my young friends, that are not woke, but they're still Z-Gens.
Yeah.
I said I could drop them off in Venezuela. I guarantee when I went back, they'd still be alive. I said, but you some bitches would be. Could you see AOC being dropped? And AOC's a South American. Can you see her being dropped off in a place like
She's
that? She,
not South. Don't say
oh,
that.
whatever
She's
the
not
hell she
South
is.
Amer. She's not South American. She is a pretender of many races.
She is that. She is a pretender of many races.
Okay,
And
I said I've talked about this for since I came on your channel. I think it's almost about 3 years ago. I talked about preparedness. I talked about the whole part about being strong and protecting things, and I've talked about many times that people don't understand this about how to protect yourself anymore. You were in the military. You've seen lots of things. We talked about the UFO landing on the aircraft carrier, stuff like that. But do you think people today actually know how to protect themselves for the majority?
no, the majority have not a clue. If we thank God we have a military that's actually a skilled military, because if they were to land in our country today, we'd be screwed. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there's different things now what would happen. Certain parts of New York would fight back hard and actually do some damage. The whole South would, because they're used to hunting and fishing and being in the woods.
Right.
But some of the Midland would, but the whole West Coast would just be gone. They wouldn't even know what the hell they got involved with. They would
Right.
they would walk over that 50 million people out there like they were nothing. The Upper East Coast, same thing would happen. Places like
Mm-hmm.
D.C., Boston, shit. Chicago would probably put up a fight because they used to have to put up a fight because there's always somebody trying to kill them down there. But
Right. No, this is all true material. Is that you see where violence is, and you see how people go and do things, but a lot of the places don't actually know any. It's not a part about gender roles. It's a part about how to protect yourself and your family and do anything. I know there's a lot of prepper channels out there, but they're all sort of uh, discouraged about watching those things because
well,
that's the
if
way
a
the propaganda goes against.
if a
Right.
socialist or a communist country was ever invade our country, that's the first thing they would kill. They'd kill a gay population off first.
Oh yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
it would be like, "What? Excuse me, y'all are gone."
Yeah.
Um,
Well, look at your military now. I watched the whole thing there in the last 2 years about the person that came in there that wears a dress, and now they reduced the standards for actually getting into the military.
well, they got a
Canada,
lot of stuff. They got a lot of stuff.
Canada did the same thing too.
Well, that's because they can't get anybody in the military. But the U.S. did some weird stuff because Trump made it illegal to be gay and be in the military again. So he
Right.
made it legal. Well, Biden was trying to change it, but for some reason, he's been having a hard time with that. I don't know why. And
Well,
a lot of the
who's the
commanders say that,
director? The director wears or the head of
yeah,
the
no, I
military
seen
wears
the,
a dress.
I know the one you're talking about, but see, they're learning, the Biden's are learning a hard trouble. So remember the guy who worked, he was working with the financial group.
Hmm.
He got arrested because he was stealing people's. He was a transgender, and he got arrested for stealing people's luggage at airports. This
Oh
guy's
no,
making like a.
that's the other guy. That's
That's the
the
other guy. Yeah, that's the other one.
yeah
But there's three of them now. So there's three of
yeah
them that went in as transgender, and they're having some kind of problem with all three of them.
yeah.
So the one in the military supposedly slapped some straight guy on the ass. So there could be all kind of investigations in this. So Biden and them don't know what to do, and the military considers, see, the military is not anti-gay; they're just considered a distraction.
Right,
They got enough to think about when they're in the field besides who's next to you. And
right,
is a gay guy going to fight as strong as a straight guy? I don't know.
right.
I
And
don't
this
want to
is
find out.
right, and this is the part that and I'll bring this back the full part there as a couple of minutes ago where this Andrew Tate guy had said there is that when you're in the military, guys that are there, they don't have to worry about a female or somebody that's in the mindset that they don't know who they are in their mindset of genitalia or anything like that, right? You want people out there that are going to go force forward and go, and that's who you depend on,
Yeah. Well,
right? And
women in the military doesn't bother me as much. First, it was they could just do support roles, and then they could fly fighters and stuff like that, and helicopters
right.
and attack. But
So
now they're
how many?
letting them on the ground troops. The only problem I have with ground troops, because don't get me wrong, ladies, I think y'all kill just as good as any men. I ain't got no problem.
Yeah.
I know there's some murderous bitches out there, so I ain't got no
Oh,
problem with
no,
thinking
no
that.
doubt. There is exceptions to the rule,
Yeah.
but the majority is not.
But my problem is how are you going to carry my 260-pound ass out of the woods?
There you go.
I could grab two of y'all and throw one over each shoulder and walk out of there in the woods, even if y'all were 150 pounds or 200 pounds each. But you're
Yep.
not going to be able to carry me out of the woods. And that's, to hints, is a big problem.
Right. Dead weight.
So, I know y'all can get out there and get killed and kill like the rest of us, but are you going to be able to get out of there? And look, when I'm under fire, I don't care what sex you are, as long as you're blowing up the freaking enemy. But again, if I get shot, or you can be able to get me out of the woods. And that's really
Right.
important to me because, I might get shot or
Mhm.
something worse. So, it's one of those things. It's a good and a bad thing. I mean, a lot of militaries incorporate the women, so I know it
Yep.
can be done correctly. Israelis have been doing it for a long time, but
Right.
there are other militaries in South America and Africa not in Africa, but in South America.
Hey, good spies, good assassins, great things. Same with kids. Good when you go and
No, I
program
agree. A
them
woman, somebody
when
had
they
posted on
program
my
them
chat.
right. When you
Yeah,
program
women
them
kill
right.
with the best of them. I have no problem with that. Look, I have no doubt that women can kill. Look,
Oh yeah, no,
you
no
know,
doubt.
just here's a perfect example for y'all. Just a week ago, or a week and a half ago, two officers pulled up to a hotel in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and was talking with this woman. She was 49 years old. She was probably about 100 pounds. She was a veterinarian that lived in one of the bigger cities around here. And she had a cops call because of something else that was going on. Well, the cops decided they wanted to take her kids. Well, guess what happened? She shot one of them in the face, killed him instantly.
Mhm.
Shot the other one 3 times and killed him as well. And so these were two. This was one veteran cop and one rookie cop. They made a big mistake. Is not thinking that woman would kill him because she should have killed him and she didn't have any remorse for it. Later on, she killed herself. Of course, then they tried to change the story that the second cop got a shot off, but I don't know. The original report was that she got in the car and killed herself with her kid in the car. So but that tells you right there. I have no
Yeah.
problem. Women can kill. There ain't no doubt that you can't kill.
Oh, no doubt that's why they call them black widows sometimes, right?
I just, again, though, I want to know that you can get me out of the woods. Look, I met some big Marine girls when I was in the Navy,
Yeah.
but they ain't nothing. And back then, I was in shape. I was about 195 pounds.
Mhm.
Even they still couldn't carry me out, but I could pick their ass up, throw them over, show, carry them right out. It's
Hey,
just, it's a difference in overall body strength. Plus, it's not just me that have to be carrying. They got to carry all their gear. See, most people don't realize, but most Marines and even squids, when they're out in the field, they're carrying about 80 to 90 pounds on them,
you're right. That's
including their
another
gear.
person,
Yeah, and that's not their guns. That's just their nat pad, their backs, and the ammo.
right?
The gun's a whole other thing by itself. So how long can you do that if you're a female? Can you do that for 5 miles, 10 miles? Can you do that for 2, 3, 4,
Let's see.
5 days?
Now we only got about a minute left here, Joe.
I know,
Says,
ladies,
well,
write in and tell me.
they say it says, well, I carry a baby for 9 months. That's no problem carrying an extra 80 pounds. I go, no, it's a lot different.
You still live?
And we go. I'm still on the air.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hello, Lorley.
There you go. There's Laura Lee running out the back door. Anyways, this has been the delicious recipe. We have to stop here because we got Michelle DeRogia coming up
Yeah,
here.
she's that one will definitely kill us.
I know. And so
I
this has
take her in
been
any war.
this has been Joe Montaldo on the delicious recipe. This is the end of the year. We're just looking back things and we're just sort of piecing out things and asking questions as we always do on this show. So I want to thank you very much, Joe. Tell them where they can find you as we got about a minute
Oh,
left.
God, you can find me all over the network. Just look me up and just type my name anywhere on the internet and it'll show you where I'm at and what I'm up to. And remember, people, starting in January, you'll start to be able to see our beautiful faces on television. Ooh, ain't that scary? But we got some good looking people on the network.
Yes.
Yeah, so you get to see that. We only got 2 redheads now because
Well, I can always dye my hair red if you need me
Amelia,
to.
Amelia's black hair. Well, no, she needed to be
Happy New
a little darker.
Year. I can't
Happy
hear
New
you, but
Year.
Happy New Year.
Do not make me.
Are you gonna dye your hair
I
red,
am not your
Joe?
father.
Yeah, it is red. It is on the top between the white.
There you go.
There we go.
See?
Another redhead on the network. That gives us
There
3
you
or
go.
4.
See how fun this network is? So you check us out on all the networks that we should be going on live to. Plus, we're on Rumble, and also which are the other ones there, Joe?
Oh, we're on. Look, just if type in UFO Paranormal Radio or United Public Radio, and it will come up all over the place. We're on every major venue there is. We're on there, and usually we're on there twice. Because it's 2 separate stations. United Public and UFO Paranormal are actually 2 different stations, so they're actually listed twice. So you can find us any way you want to listen to us on any venue. If you would like Spotify better than iHeart or iTunes, you can listen to any venue you want to listen to us on. Even weird ones like Pod Addict and podcast things people have never even heard of. We're on. Just things I've never heard of. We're on.
Perfect. That's good. And also, besides video, we're also on audio, and you can check us all out. I got to go and stop this before 9 o'clock, or else I'm going to get in trouble by my manager.
Michelle will hurt both of us. She's like, "What the hell are y'all 2 doing down there?"
Okay. Good night, and thank you for 2022. Thank you, Joe, for showing up here.
Thank you, guys.